All right, everybody. Hi, here we are. We're at the Hoboken Historical Museum. I'm Rand Hoppy. I am the producer, tech guy, collections manager, all about Hoboken Talks. We're probably up to certainly more than 100 episodes of this show. Please check out our YouTube channel and so on to see the archives of all the great conversations that we've had here on the show. Just a plethora of wonderful guests. And we have another wonderful guest here tonight on Hoboken Talks. We have Theresa Castellano, and she's going to be talking with Jay Castellano, and I'm going to hand the reins over to them, and we'll get the show started.
Hi.
Okay.
How you doing?
Are you ready?
Yeah, are you ready?
I'm ready. First, I have to say I have been interviewed by a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
In these many, many years, and I never in the wildest did I ever think I would be interviewed by a family member, a daughter-in-law, and
Well,
my pal.
we have a fun time together.
We do.
We both live at 332, and so we are together quite often, which is
That's
the
our
beautiful
background.
backdrop. It's our home. So, thank you for the beautiful introduction. I am Jay Castellano. I get the honor to be this legend's daughter-in-law.
Please.
You have, in my opinion, some of the deepest roots in Hoboken, and I have a funny story to kind of start about when I first started dating your oldest son, John. We were dating a week, and he's in real estate, so he had a showing kind of on the backside of town, and the minute we walked past Willow, every single person we met, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm related to him. Oh yeah, he's a cousin." And I was like, wait, what? What did I just get myself into? And I mean, your roots go really deep here. So tell us a little bit.
And you still married him.
I know. I mean, how could you not? He's a gem. But you have a really deep family history in Hoboken. Tell us the journey here. How did your
First, tell
grandfather's...
me about your first argument with my son.
Oh, that's another funny story. All right, this is about me, but I'll tell you everybody because that is quite funny. So our first argument was about Fiore's sandwiches because I'm a very independent woman, and I was very offended at the fact that he told me I had to order roast beef on a Thursday, and I was like, no, you're not going to tell me what sandwich to order. And then, I think I pouted the entire way back to our apartment, and the minute I ate it, I thought it was amazing. But
it was the lettuce and tomato.
Oh yeah, I was like, I'm going to get turkey and cheese and lettuce and tomato, and he was like, you can't do that at Fiore's. Are you crazy? All these things. I was fuming. Well,
you have to know the drill.
Yeah, I had no idea what the drill was. I was a little Southern girl, but now I fully know the drill, and it is definitely a family favorite at this point in time.
Right.
But speaking of family, talk to us.
So you say, we have deep roots. Well, we all married neighborhood people, neighborhood kids. So this family, was related to that family, and then that family, and a lot of the times, I know my grandparents sponsored a lot of people. The Piccolos. That family, Spacavento family, they sponsored them. So we actually call them cousins and gumads and all kinds of different names. Because the Sacos and the Sassos, they feel that they were related, and when they came over on Ellis Island, their ancestors, they just the name was just similar, so they call them cousins. They don't know if they're really cousins. And basically that's the way it was. And people, people that move in here say, they look around and go, "Oh, you people are related? What's going on in this town?" we went to the same high school. Yeah. We had Sacred Heart, which was all girls. Yeah. So we had Hoboken High. And we all went to Hoboken High, and and that's where we made our whatevers, So some of them lasted, some of them didn't. There was a whole other story, but basically,
But you were originally a Ferranti, so talk to us about the Ferrantis, because they were quite, in my opinion, pretty infamous in town of building some of the original pillars.
Right. So first, the Castellano, who I married.
Yeah.
He, Bobby, they came from First and Bloomfield. We went to high school together. I knew him for many years. We didn't date until we were almost 30, but then we married at almost 30. But it was a whole other story. But his uncles and cousins, they were cops, firemen. They had a fish store. They had the Palace.
The Mansies, yeah.
The Palace was on 14th Street. It was a fishing boat, and they ran this fishing boat for many years. Yeah, it was very popular.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, his grandfather, Bobby's grandfather. So then, that's the Castellanos who I married into. The Ferrantes, my mother's family, my grandmother had 16 children. 3 did not survive.
Imagine 16 in a Hoboken apartment.
So they had 13, because 3 did not survive.
Yeah.
13's bad enough.
Yeah.
So then I had 26 aunts and uncles, and I had how many hundreds of cousins? I don't,
A lot.
You couldn't even 50, 60, because a lot of them had 8 kids, 6 kids. My mother was the only one that had
1.
So, and then we go to the Preziosos.
So that's right.
That's my father's family.
Yeah.
So my father's family, so I had my grandfather.
And he's the one who bought 332.
Yes.
The grandfather.
Yes. He bought everything.
Yeah.
And then he sold everything went for nothing. But
Yeah.
So Grandpa, he bought 332. That's where I grew up. And so we had Uncle Bruno and my Aunt Lisette and my cousin Vinny and my grandmother, my grandfather, and my Aunt Lisa, who's only 5 years older than me. So although I was an only child, I had an older sister and my younger brother, which was my cousin.
Yeah.
And Anna, she was another younger. So we had siblings in the house. I call them my siblings.
But each one of the family, like your uncle had a floor in our building.
I was on the top floor, Uncle Bruno, Grandma and Grandpa, and downstairs was a storefront.
Yeah.
But we changed it to an apartment when my Aunt Lisa got married. So she was there with Lauren and Weldon and whatever. So 2 blocks away was a Belvedere bar on 100 Hudson Street. That was the first Belvedere. We had 3 of them.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in different locations, not at the same time. But first in Hudson, so 100 Hudson Street is the Belvedere, which was a banquet hall which held 100 people.
Wow.
And then they wanted to downsize, so they went to 58 2nd Street, which was a block and a half away. Okay.
Yeah.
Right by Court Street. And then, for some reason, they moved up to 201 Washington Street, right on the corner. And, they were like, within a 2-block radius, they moved 3 times. That was my grandfather. He would just come home and say, I'm buying and doing this, we're doing it. We were not involved as the kids because, it was the bar and they didn't, except for the occasional pizza that we would go pick up, and then they would hand it to us and get out of here, So.
But he was one of the first people that sold by the slice in Hoboken. That's pretty iconic. I feel like Hoboken is a pizza town.
He told me Hudson County, but
all right,
I don't know
Hudson
that.
County. That's pretty impressive.
A lot of things they tell you was very, very innovative, and that was on 100 Hudson Street. That building isn't there anymore.
Yeah,
they actually built that building.
Oh wow!
A lot of people had their weddings there. It was very popular at the time, and Belvedere was in English, it's beautiful to look at. Mm-hmm. So they kept the same name. But anyway, so then we were on the corner at 201 Washington Street, and then my dad and my mom decided to open a little store, two doors down, 207, which was City Discount, and that was 1969. And that was February the 25th in the middle of a huge snowstorm, which Mayor Lindsay closed down New York City. And I said, Dad, you really want to open? I was 18. And he said, no, I want to open. So then we had these little flags outside, pennant flags, all full of snow. And we had snow up to here, and we're all sitting there like this, who's going to be shopping? It was a little retail store.
Yeah.
And one woman came in a few days later, and she said, you're on the wrong side of the street, All the stores are on the other side of the street. And I said, oh, thank you. And, it's a bad omen when you open up in a snowstorm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. So, she goes, I give you 2 years, you're not going to be here in 2 years.
Rude.
So she left, and I said, 55 years later, fast forward to today, we're still in business. And I look to that woman and say, thank you, because sometimes negativity can give you a lot of inspiration. And I remember when she walked out, I said, "Oh yeah," and here we are. I couldn't tell you what she looked like. I don't know if she ever came in again, but I kind of thank her because she really gave me that inspiration. Once you tell me I can't do it, you watch me.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, so that's where families.
Speaking of the Belvedere, it has a very famous pet.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was your pet growing up. You want to tell us a little bit about?
Yes, I do. So when you have a business like that, you know, you don't have a lot of time with family. So Saturday mornings, I would go to the bar. Mm-hmm. They used to call it the place. I went to the place with my dad and my skates. Because it had a terrazzo floor. Yeah. And it's like smooth, and it was wonderful to skate while he would clean the glasses and there was that time together.
Yeah.
Because again, when he was home, he was sleeping, or he was out.
Yeah, of course.
So, and sometimes they had a band. They had bands that were practicing in the daytime. So I would be skating around to all kinds of music.
How lovely! Sounds
great.
like a movie.
And we had Butchie, my little cat, and I used to play with the cat and Butchie, and I loved and I fed him, and that was really a nice time. So one day,
what happened to Butchie?
One day I go and I do my skating and I do all my things and I'm looking for Butchie. And my father said, "Oh," I said, "Dad, where's Butchie?" You know, he tries to tell me that, you know, there was these people came and they were doing a movie on the waterfront. And they used to come for lunch. And this lady, Eva Marie Saint, she fell in love with him and she wanted to have him. And she asked me if she could have him. I said, now I'm a Catholic schoolgirl. I'm 6 or 7 years old. The only saint I know are the ones in heaven, or maybe hanging out in the church.
Yeah, right.
Saint came down and took my Butchie. Really?
No.
And he was like, well, you know, she fell in love with him, and I was devastated. I was really devastated. I could shake now.
Oh, and the cat's in the movie.
And the cat's in the movie right in the beginning, and when it's on, and I catch it early on.
Yeah.
I get to see my Butchie once in a while. I'm sure he went to Hollywood or wherever she lived and had a wonderful life, but I was devastated, and to the point where I didn't go with him on Saturdays for a while. That was my big time with him. But I wound up, I made amends saying, you know, my father couldn't say no to a saint. Because what would you think? Eva Marie Saint. I said, you know, I'm glad I wasn't there when she came in, because if she asked me, I wouldn't be able to say no to a saint either. Yeah. So that's how I made the amends, and I forgave him.
I love
and
it.
we moved on, like everything else in life. You know, you know, it's okay, because it was a saint that wanted my cat. So, but his name was Butchie, and I loved him. I still love him.
Butchie. I know, you're such an animal person, so I understand. So you grew up in this like family of a lot of entrepreneurs in town, and being so closely tied to the community, how did that shape your view of Hoboken and your sense of like civic duty?
Well, my family dragged me into, not dragged me into, but we had a civic association, Russo Civic, and very early on, I was 19, 20, young adult, we started the civic association. We were on 4th and Adam, right near Fiore's. And we did all kinds of community events, and I loved every minute of it. We did the hospital visits, Easter, Halloween, and Christmas. And we did the haunted house, and we did Easter egg hunts citywide, and we would take a block 2 times a month and sweep the streets and clean out, you know, there's not very many empty lots anymore, but they used to be pulling weeds. We would clean the parks. We would just do so many things. You know, scavenger hunts. We had a volleyball team, and they were just community things. Yeah. And we would close the street and have barbecues, and you know, celebrate 4th of July's and set off firecrackers, and that's kind of like the thing I love to do. Yeah, I really felt very inspired and very, I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like those haunted houses, I'm like still very jealous that we don't still have that as like a community thing in Hoboken because it just seemed so iconic and
Yeah, it was 1,000 kids. We had the clicker. It would be 1,000 kids a
wow.
night. Free to the kids. We had adults. We had a kiddie area. The graveyard, which was my... I sat in the graveyard, and we had a pumpkin patch, because it wasn't that scary, but we didn't let the little kids go in. We did it for 20 years.
Wow.
We did it for 20 years, and the year we did not do it was 9/11.
Oh, wow.
Because we became a drop-off spot for the Red Cross.
Interesting.
So for 3 months, we opened, and we just collected and distributed stuff. So we didn't do it that year. But we did it for 20 years, and it grew bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah,
And then,
sounds really iconic. I mean,
it was
if
beautiful.
you guys don't know, even I hope this image tells you she is the Queen of Halloween. So definitely the Hoboken Queen of Halloween. Our house is decorated for Halloween all year long.
I don't even take them down.
She doesn't even take the Halloween decorations down.
We did the graveyard, and we used to do all the council people.
Yeah.
And mine was
Oh, that was my favorite. All the council people with the gravestones.
And the mayor was in the coffin.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun. But mine was always, here lies Terry, the head witch, in this ditch. And some of my friends would, have all the sayings on them, and it would always rhyme with your name.
I love it.
So we had a lot of fun. And those are the things I loved.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved them, and I miss them.
Yeah.
I have to say.
And Hoboken is such a great community, and it is nice that it has that kind of small town feel, even though you're right next to New York City.
We always did. We always did.
You've held so many important roles, from public servant to businesswoman, mom, grandma. How do you reflect on the different chapters of your life, and how did you balance being a mom and a councilwoman and a business owner and all of the things?
And don't forget successfully.
Successfully, yes, exactly.
You have to learn very early, and I did learn very early. You put things in perspective. When I'm here at the council table, that's where I am. Nothing else. When I'm home making pancakes or whatever I'm doing, that's what I'm doing.
You are very good at that.
You can't mishmash everything and mixed up. You just really have to focus. It's wearing that hat, taking it off, putting the other hat on, and you do what you have to do. I think that's what got me through. And plus, it's the support from my family. I mean, my husband was wonderful at that. The boys were good, a little resentful, sometimes.
No, they went everywhere with you.
They did.
That was the other thing, too, back then.
They did. I dragged them every place. They helped with the haunted house. They helped with the Easter egg hunt. And one funny story, Jesse was 4 years old, and I would take him, I would go to the funeral parlors,
Oh, yeah.
2 or 3 a night, whatever. So here we go, here and there. And when we'd come back, we'd get ice cream, we'd go through the park, we would play a little bit. I tried to make it a little bit fun. And I put him in the parlor. He didn't come into the, he said, so he said, one night he said, could we do something? And I said, I don't think so. And I think I have to, you only take me to see dead people. He was a little guy I never thought of that. I figured we were having a fun night. We go here and there. And you only take me to see dead people. So, okay, I never took them after that.
Aww.
Yeah, I didn't. So who's this, Eric Kramer? What's your favorite costume? I'm always dressed as a witch.
Witch, always. She's the good witch.
My kids used to say, "Mom, why don't you be a cat this year? Why don't you do this year?" I said, no. It's 1 year I get to dress like a witch.
Exactly.
I would say in character.
Yeah, right? One of my favorite stories about you being at a council meeting and you had her best friend Suzanne watching John.
Oh, yeah.
You want to tell that story? That's a really funny one.
So we had a very contentious zoning board meeting, and I was the chair. And Suzanne Manzi Warren, who later became a zoning board member also. So she was watching John, and I call up, because we had a break, and it's John answers. I'm like, John. I said, said, where's Suzanne? She can't come to the
Well,
phone
let's
right
also
now.
say that John has always been too smart for his own good. For sure.
He's a few people.
Yeah.
He's not only one person. He's a few people. He always was. So he said, she can't come to the phone right now. I said, I want to speak to Suzanne. He said, she's tied up right now. And I think she let him watch an Avenger movie or something. And she also watched Jesse at one point. I let her watch him. And when I came home, his diaper was on backwards.
But Suzanne was like physically tied up in the living room.
Yeah, she was. She was tied up with. She was tied up with lighting, Christmas tree lighting, the wires, and plugged her in.
I love it.
He said she's plugged in right now. She can't come to
She's
the
really
phone.
tied up. That's amazing.
Exactly. And I had to go back to the zoning board and mediate this whole meeting in the vision of Suzanne all lit up sitting in a chair, and my son running around watching a movie that I wouldn't have let him watch. Those are the things you go through.
It takes like the community to keep things together, the village for sure. But let's talk a little bit about your political career. So you started in 1995 you took the step into public service, you ran for city council. What motivated you to do that? How did that happen?
Okay, so you know that in 1980 I was appointed to the Historic Preservation Commission, of which you are a commissioner now. Then in late 80s, around that time, I was asked to take over the zoning board. I was the chair of the two boards in the city. And so we had the zoning board and the historic and the planning board. And then I realized that there's a disconnect between these three boards, and there was things that were falling through the cracks. So I said, at least let's, we can't coordinate the three boards. They do work separately. But let's have the agendas of each board distributed to each board so that this board knows what that board is doing. Because sometimes the applications would overlap. So a little bit more cohesiveness. So anyway, I was okay with all of that. And then I was approached in 95 to run for the council, and I was the most reluctant council. I was the most reluctant. Please, I do not want to do this. I don't like the limelight. I like to be the team player. I don't mind this and that. And, all our community events, coordinating and being on those two boards, but I can't do this. Well, I went home and I thought about it, and I thought about all the things that Hoboken gave me. A great place to live, a great place to raise my kids, businesses, successful businesses that my family ran. And then I said I should give back. And that's why I acquiesced. But I was the most reluctant candidate. I said, please get somebody else. And now, 5 terms later, here I am. I ran 5 times, 5 4-year terms. I was the longest serving woman on the city council. And Stephen Michael Mangello, he was a judge. I was just with him the other day, a lawyer in town. His dad was Stephen. And Lenny Letzi had said to me, I think he had 6 terms. But you're still the woman that ran 5 terms. But he was actually, there was a commission form of government in Hoboken in the 50s, and Stephen Mangello was a commissioner. He was 1 term, and he lost. And then it changed to the current city council makeup that we have right now. And he ran 5 terms on the city council. But that 1 term, so he didn't run 6 terms on the council, but he did have 6 terms under his belt.
Wow.
He's no longer with us, but there was always a controversy. So I finally, I had a meeting with Michael on an issue, and I said, by the way, me and your dad, are we in competition here?
Oh.
So, but yeah, 20 years on the city council.
So you must have seen a lot in 20 years and been a part of a lot in 20 years. What are some of the biggest initiatives that you worked on for town over those years?
Well, there were several. But one thing I early on, I was at the store, and this girl comes in with this beautiful little girl. And I noticed that the carriage was different. It was different. And she said to me that her daughter was handicapped and that she needed to be in a building with an elevator. rather than a 3-story walk-up because of the equipment she needed for this baby. And she wanted to get her out every day.
Yeah.
And she wanted to get a swing, a handicap swing, and which she would pay for, and the installation. But she said, I just don't know if I need a special permit. And I think I was just elected. So I helped her. I helped her get an application. She did get into an elevator building. She came to see me every day, happy. And she did get the swing, and we got a... and then she told me that my daughter's not going to live much longer. It absolutely... But then my eyes opened wide, and I said, this job is so much more than sitting at a council table or voting on legislation. You know, I mean, this job is... You really have to be... The people need a lot of help.
Yeah.
In many different areas. And to tell you the truth, there was more than like 60% of doing council work, is that the mediation between condo owners. All these people become your partners.
Yeah.
Sometimes the color of painting the hall, or what color we're going to decide on, end up in court because they can't.
Wow.
You know, I've been in court with many people. At odds with many different things. But one of the things that we did was the waterfront. You know, I mean, that waterfront, we always, of course, had a waterfront, obviously. Yeah. But it was out of bounds. It was dilapidated and rotten. And when Anthony we fought a referendum. A Port Authority wanted to come in and build 2 44-story towers. So we coupled with a lot of different groups in town. Anthony he was the councilman at the time. Mm-hmm. And we fought. The administration wanted, you know, they said, oh, jobs and this, and, you know, and it wasn't what we wanted. Yeah. And we won. They lost. That was one of the buttons, yes and no. Mm-hmm. And we had many, many buttons for many, many issues, east and west of the light rail. Originally, they want the administration, which was Anthony at the time, wanted the east, right along the waterfront. A group wanted west, so we had east buttons. So then they met with Anthony, and he changed his mind, which was really interesting to see somebody to say, I love that about him. He was open to say, you know, you could be right. I was wrong. So then we changed the button. So then we had west. And I was in a restaurant once, and somebody that I knew came out, what button do you have on now? You people always have a button, whether it's an issue. We had lots of issues at that time. But the waterfront, that was early on when I was elected, and, you know, at the meetings with Port Authority, they lost that round, and then they came back and they offered us what we have today. Not one penny of taxpayer money. Wow. It was a wonderful, I get the chills. Yeah. It was a wonderful negotiation. It was great to be a part of that. And then the other thing, we did so many things, but one other thing, I've always supported rent control. Yeah, I was going to say that. I have rent control buildings. Yeah. I am very, you know, you can be a successful landlord under rent control. Totally. And I always advocated for, you know, I supported rent control. We had a problem with one of the buildings that was on subsidy, their pilot was up. Mm-hmm. And if in fact the administration at the time really wanted to get rid of this situation. So we got 5 votes, Michael Russo and I, and we passed an extension of the pilot for 5 years. Yeah. Otherwise, 400 families would be at the mercy of the landlord the next day. Oh. So that would have been devastating. Yeah. So, and I'm thinking, you know what, we should do something in the ordinance to protect all, because there's several buildings. Marine View is one of them, across the street from us. So I went to the law department. Everybody was on board to put in an excerpt that said when a building comes off of rent subsidy, it automatically goes under the rent control laws of the city. Yeah. So that was a really struggle, because, you know, not everybody. You know, you can have the most wonderful ideas. You put them on the table, and, you know, other people don't think so. Maybe because you didn't vote for something they wanted. Yeah. Last year. Yeah, it's more about like a he said, she said. It really is. It's a juggling act, and the other thing I think was the safe haven. The safe haven was close to my heart, and it is today. I brought it into the school system, the health classes. Yeah. and it should be incorporated in family planning. There wasn't enough advertisement about it. There's not enough people know that it's out there, that you don't have to put your baby in a dumpster.
Right.
And so that was very important to me.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that I did.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like you're underselling yourself. You did so much, like the Washington Business District, obviously the waterfront, which is iconic for Hoboken at this point in time.
That's a big one. In 2010, we were, I think I told you this, we were named as one of the 10 best main streets in America by the American Planning Association. It didn't get much play because I wasn't a favorite of the administration, and that would have given me accolades. But that's okay, as long as it was done,
Yeah, I mean, you definitely inspired me to like get involved. Just being around you all the time and being a part of the historic commission and things like that. It really kind of brings you into that community and having a lot of care for the town as a whole. What advice would you give anybody that was thinking about going into politics in Hoboken or getting more involved?
Well, first, I get a lot.
I
get a lot of questions from aspiring politicians or people that are just curious.
Definitely go talk to her if you are.
And I have. And so I do the eye roll first. That's what I do first. And
step one, just know that's going to happen.
And I'm like, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Get yourself another set of skin.
Yes.
Don't, and be true to yourself.
Yeah.
It's an education you couldn't pay for.
Right.
You could not. You can't, unless, and it's something that you have to experience. I can't explain to you. I explained scenarios where this is a good thing I put on the table, and because I wasn't a sheep following, the administration at the time, nobody would, So, and it's heartbreaking because everything, if you put something on the table, a lot of the times it was for my constituents. It wasn't anything that, So, it's very difficult to explain.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, being a council person for a ward that is a lot of rent control, that has an older demographic, it's very different, particularly from a lot of the upcoming or changing demographics of Hoboken. So you often probably had a lot more conflicting priorities, particularly in the later years than...
Absolutely. And all the directors would say, the first ward's the worst ward.
Well, we love it.
Well, as far as transient, you help somebody today, they're not there tomorrow.
Right.
It's not like Uptown where people have roots and they buy a house, but it's all a lot of renters, as you said. So then, you have to reinvent yourself. Mm-hmm. And I learned that from business. I said, how are you in business so many years? You have to reinvent yourself.
Oh, for sure.
And market yourself.
Yeah.
And learn how to do that. And so I think, that's the advice I give people. And you have to be a certain kind of person. I didn't think I was, but I survived, the 5 terms. And I came out the other side. And, I opted for the 6th term. And again, I was not the favorite of the administration, and I did lose. But, there's life after the city council. I told them there's a lot of life out there, and it's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not, and every day I have somebody come in and ask for my advice, for my help, for direction, every single day, sometimes 2 a day. And I say to them, did you go to your council person? And they say, I called, but they didn't answer me. Yeah. And I trust you. I said, okay, thank you. So,
it's true.
Yeah. So,
which is nice. You have that kind of open door policy at the store, which is awesome.
It's the only way I know how to operate.
So in your own special way, you still are, public servant without holding the official title. You do a lot of helping the community.
Just today,
still.
I got somebody said that you need to run again. We need you back in the first ward. We have no representation here. And I said, thank you. That's all I could say, We'll see what happens.
Well, we have an awesome, amazing slideshow of some history to kind of go through. Fran, do you want to power that up? So Look at these fine gentlemen in this amazing, iconic spot. Tell us a little bit about this photo.
So that's my grandfather.
So
And
dapper. Oh my goodness.
He's came over on Ellis Island.
Yeah.
You know, and he had opened a little grocery store on First Street. That's where my dad worked. That's where my mom lived with her mom and her sisters. And they married. But this was the first street. This was 100 Hudson Street, the corner. They built that building. This is, of course, Court Street. These are cobblestones. And that's my Uncle Bruno. He made the pizzas. and he worked on the docks after we closed the bar, and his nickname was Pizza. And that was Juan.
Oh,
he was our chef. He was from Brooklyn.
The shorter guy was
He was
Juan.
from Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn.
Johnny from
I love
Brooklyn.
it. Such an iconic car, too.
and
I'm sure Bobby loved that.
Oh, that was beautiful. And then, so Johnny, you know, he was a chef, so he would get spots on his apron, and he would come out in the and my grandfather, who was Dapper Dan, he would really mad at him. He used to quit a lot because my dad would say, "Look, we got a wedding coming, and he's quitting. Leave him alone." He didn't like that he came out with a dirty. It wasn't dirty; it just had sauce on it.
Yeah, of course.
He did not like that. He always had the bow ties.
Yeah, I would have loved to eat his food, man.
Oh my God!
But it was great.
Oh my
Growing
God.
up with that, I mean.
It was really fun. You know, it was a great time in our life. But
But your grandfather was super interesting, didn't he? Like come to Ellis Island and go back, then come back, and.
he went back, and my dad was 12 years old, and they went back with money that they made, and they were going to live there. And then the war broke out. And he lost everything was in the bank. He lost everything.
Wow.
And came back and did it again. And I can't even
That's
imagine.
crazy.
I can't even imagine how they did it.
The
And here he is.
perseverance,
This is him after going bankrupt.
Wow.
Coming back on that.
Oh, wow. I assume this was before. Wow.
No,
That's
this was
crazy.
him. They were just amazing people.
Yeah.
And, you know, you appreciated how did you do that?
Yeah.
But, you know, you didn't want to talk about it. A lot of them did not want to talk about it. When you said, it was Grandma, no, it was terrible.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
You know, and so we missed them and loved them.
Oh, the iconic spot.
This was, again, 100 Hudson Street, and there was Giovanni with the hat.
Was this like one of the original bars kind of in Hoboken,
There
too?
was plenty of them.
Oh, there was plenty of
Yeah,
those.
there was-
But more like banquet hall, like one of the first.
Yes. It was the Union Club, and it was us. And then I think it was the Blue Point up on 9th and 8th and Willow. And that was my Uncle Bruno with the head of hair.
Oh, yeah, in
And
the
those
middle.
were my grandfather's uncles. It was my grandfather, my dad behind the bar.
Wow.
And Juan from Brooklyn with a clean apron. And my grandfather made him wear the chef's hat. He was not happy. And I have the original table with the butcher block.
Yeah,
That's the one in our screen house
In
at the shore
Belmar.
house.
Yeah.
That's probably
very
over
special to
100.
us.
Oh, I love it. you
Yeah.
know. And I love this, but you know, it's and that's the terrazzo floor. It's nice and shiny.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's not there anymore. They tore it down.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? You know, this historic came to, you know, and they weren't tearing it down. There was a bunch of attorneys in there, and then they tore it down eventually. I recused myself. So.
And look at our house. This is our garden is much more kept than this. I'll have to say at this point. But yeah, 332, the iconic spot where I mean, still to this day, third generations living there.
And we intend to stay. For
Yeah,
them.
we intend to stay and
and that
keep
was
it in
a
the family.
storefront. That was the Hudson Lunch.
But the cool thing about this building, too, that most people don't know is that this was originally a hotel.
The Park Hotel.
Yeah, the Park Hotel, so our building was built in the late 1800s, I think like 1890, something around there. And it was a full hotel, so
With including this
the
corner
white
building.
stucco building. And one of the coolest architectural features of our building is the fact that all of the bedrooms are Jack and Jill, as if it was a hotel. So you have the like door that goes in between the bedrooms, and
Right.
It's got such unique pieces. I mean, I will tell you, living there and also being in design, John won't let me nail anything into the walls because you never know where like the old school gas lines are or anything like that.
You did have an episode, right? You smelled gas.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There was,
John was like, "No more. You're not allowed to hang anything in this house."
There was like a sconce, right?
Yeah.
And they smelled gas after all these years.
Yeah.
I mean, we're there since 1953 or 54.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, recently, you had the problem.
Yeah, so funny.
Yeah.
But it's definitely one of very cool place to live.
And it's also attached to the building next door, even though they're not. If you see, there's a seam between the two buildings, but if you see, I have that wall.
Yeah.
I have a big brick wall. I have an 18 by 20
Yeah,
living
living
room.
room.
And that was the front, it was a luncheonette. And the 14-foot ceilings.
Yeah.
And you can see the bricks where there was an opening,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was a window, and it's very, very convoluted.
Yeah,
and
and
interesting.
even in the basement, you have like the stairs that would have gone
Right.
down and things, and it's just like really cool, the history of it.
And we have mantles, and two
Yeah.
mantles in each apartment. When my mother told me that when they bought it, there were Tiffany lights,
Yeah.
and there were potbelly stoves, and of course it
Yeah.
was all cleaned out. I was a baby, so
We would have kept those Tiffany lamps
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
and the potbelly stove.
Yeah, right. Maybe not that, but like the Tiffany lamps. Whew.
But it was the Park Hotel. I have a picture of it. You can
Yeah.
look it up too. It's
Super cool.
yeah, that
We
was
love
a
it.
big renovation.
And look at this girl. Who is this?
Here I am. I was
How old were you here?
I would say 3 or 4.
So you were born in Hoboken, and then your father was like, "I got to get her out of Hoboken," and you lived in
North Bergen.
North Bergen for like at this time, but then you moved back into 332 when you were 5.
Right. So there was and at that house, it was at the time, it was a very rural area.
Yeah,
So I had.
you were a farm girl kind of. I'm just
I
kidding.
was, no, I was. We had ducks.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we had a chicken coop, and I didn't know, but they were turkeys for the restaurant. So I used to go out and feed them, and I used to play
Again with
them.
the animals, your poor dad.
Again.
Now I understand your animal stance and your big heart for them.
And we had a cherry tree and a pear tree and a peach tree. And I had all this, and we had swings, and we had a nice yard, we had a pond. And one day we came here, and it was very traumatic because I was at the top floor. We had a dead end street, so we were out all the time. And I couldn't go out. I couldn't ride my bike. I couldn't do anything. We were in the city now.
Yeah,
I went out on the fire escape. And
never let you leave the stoop.
The stoop. I was on the stoop. And having that restaurant, we didn't go anyplace.
Yeah.
Every those summers, people would go here and there, and so on 4th and Hudson. I'd spend my summers. In the park was kind of out of,
Yeah, it wasn't
she was
what it
too
is now.
dangerous. And so I always talk about, and I tell my kids how our amusement park was sliding down the banister.
Oh, yeah.
So we had 3 banisters. So we would run to the top, slide down 3 banisters, back up to the top. That was a big deal because, we really couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
We played tag, we played bottle caps, but,
Yeah.
And then my mother had to be out the window
Oh, yeah.
watching me.
Well, I mean, you were very cute. That's probably smart of her.
when you have, especially when you have a barn, you see a
Yeah,
city,
I
part of
see.
life,
Yeah.
and you get, my dad was always very protective.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
yeah, I was cute. I look like Sawyer.
You do a little bit there. It's funny. Our
My
niece-
granddaughter.
Yeah.
She looks like me.
And then the Golden Girls.
Yeah, my Aunt Lisa, who's, again, 5 years older than me. That's her daughter, Lauren. And I was 15 when she was born. So we they moved, everybody, I say all of my relatives are in Florida or in heaven.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of my friends, we lost a lot of friends lately.
Yeah.
But life takes its turn.
But you guys, all 3 of you grew up in Hoboken in
332.
332, which is amazing.
We did.
Lauren lived in my apartment at one point in time. Annie lived in
downstairs.
downstairs,
In my apartment. I lived
yeah.
on the top floor.
Exactly.
We built that apartment for her.
Yeah.
And ironically, when she married Uncle Sal, they lived in Bobby's mother's house.
Oh, wow, that's right.
136 Park Avenue.
That's crazy. And I remember the funny story about how when your grandfather came back from Italy, he came back one time with a husband for Annie.
He came back, he went back after all those years to find out what was left in the bank.
Yeah.
And there was a few dollars left. So he bought some jewelry and he came back with Freddie. Freddie had the flying pizza on 11th and Wash, and they were close friends. So they went on a boat. They went to Italy, did their business. They were coming back, and Freddie smuggled his nephew, little Freddie. He had Coke bottle glasses, and he was this scrawny little thing. They pat him under the bed. And my grandfather's like, what's going on? He really didn't know.
Yeah.
Smuggled him in. And they brought him in to marry my aunt. And she was dating Uncle Sal at the time. She was 16, 15.
Yeah.
And he used to send big boxes of Perugini candy, roses every day to my grandmother, this little Freddie.
Amazing.
Yeah, and till my father put a stop to it. My father said, Dad, you can't do this.
Yeah.
And
what a character.
Oh, yeah.
What a character.
Yeah. He sent her one of those silver Christmas trees. I mean, every day something would come.
I love it.
And you had to put all the arms in it, the blue and the red. And so Uncle Sal, then they were just dating, we put it all together. We took an hour and a half to put the yellow and the green and the blue. And he said to my aunt, where do you want this? And she said, oh, by the window. And he was 6'2", and he carried it and he hit the chandelier. And the whole house, all the fuses blew. There was sparks flying all over the place, and all the arms go flying out. So all the work we did was and then we put everything. We vacuumed, we cleaned everything, put everything back together. You still want it over there by that window? Yeah. He picks it up again, and he hits the chandelier again.
Electrocutes himself.
In the whole house again, all the fuses blew. My aunt, my uncle, everybody's like, what happened to all this?
That's the personality of Uncle Sal. That's
and
why he's also a legend.
And she married him.
But he is, you can't blame her. He is very charming and funny.
Very special. He's very special. But we have a lot of those Uncle Sal stories. But that's how it began.
Yeah, I love it.
So then she did marry him, and little Freddie.
Yeah, I'm sure he found his way.
Yeah. I don't know if he ever got caught. I don't know what happened to him.
I'm sure he's still here somewhere.
I don't know. But it was a time.
Yeah.
It was a time. Every day something was going on.
Man.
Flowers. That was the way to his heart.
Wow, this is when you guys were little.
Yeah. That was in the North Bergen house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My
so
dad.
It's you, your dad.
Grandfather, and my Aunt Lisa, who looks Chinese. Yeah.
No, but you guys are so cute.
Yeah, we had a really nice growing up.
Yeah.
Very loving, loving, good family.
Yeah.
There's no other way to go like your family.
Yeah. All very close.
This breaks my heart.
Oh.
Yeah, that was my dad's car. We always had a new car every year.
And,
wow.
And fancy.
Going with, I'll get to that, but the car thing, my grandfather. So one day I'm walking home from school and I see this pink Imperial with these big wings on the back, bright pink car going down, up and down Washington Street, and everybody's looking at this car. Well, it was him. He bought this pink Imperial. I have pictures of it, my communion pictures. I'm sitting this huge, they were the big Finn cars in the 60s. Well, anyway, after that, we got this car. But that was across the street from us, where Marine View Plaza is now. Model Cities came in under a CETA program and told all those people, they had 4 blocks of people, 4th Street down, they had to leave. They paid them, of course, but they were nicer houses than my side of the street. They were front yards and, backyards, and all my neighbors were down crying, and, it was a really tough time as a little kid to watch all that.
Yeah.
And they tore each house down, and they didn't build for 10 years.
Oh, really?
So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So we had, they would stolen cars or refrigerators. It became a dump. And no street lights, so we couldn't play outside until the street lights went on, because there weren't any. It was very dark and a very sad time. And so anytime eminent domain came up on the city council, I would recuse myself, because I couldn't be partial or impartial. I figured, let me just stay out of it, because I had that experience, and eminent domain does not sit well with me.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely changed the landscape of Hudson Street, for sure, because this is where Marine View is now.
And I love my Marine View people, and it's, but it was very sad to watch. I mean, look at that, I did vote eminent domain for the hospital. That whole corner on 3rd and Clinton, there was nothing there. There were 2 dilapidated houses, and so those people actually, we bought the houses, and they actually moved into Maxwell Place. And that was eminent domain, because we wanted to build a parking garage in order to enhance the hospital situation. And I did vote for that, because that made sense. But to displace all those people, I don't think today they could get...
that wouldn't happen. The historic board would veto that as hard as we could.
It was tough. It's tough to look at, But anyway, that was our car after the Pink Imperial. I have to show you those pictures. It's moving pictures.
Look at this cast of...
This is the Ferrantes, my mom's family. So this is aunts, uncles, cousins. We were at some kind of a party. That's Bobby in the end corner. That's Aunt Josie. And there's me. Yeah. Front and center.
Look at you.
Karen.
Karen.
Well, it was a really big family. I mean, I can't imagine. That's the only one. That's my Aunt Catherine. She's 91, 92. Oh, wow. She's the only one left.
Wow.
Really sad, but that's life. That's how it goes,
Well, you guys look great.
We were very happy. I love being with my family. You met Danny. He's still around. And that was my dental hygiene class. That we, and I get the chills with this one, because that was a tough class to get into. Yeah. And I was there for the first semester, and then my mom took a stroke, massive stroke, and I was going to just say goodbye. I can't do this. It's a 2-year program. I was only halfway through, a quarter through, and I stuck it out, and I was successful. And that was I was on my way to dental school. That was gone, but at least I got this done.
And City Discount was originally, run by your mother, and when that happened, that's when you started taking over.
My mother, my father, myself, and we had Jenny Schumann. We had our first sales girl, and it was City Discount. And I would go at night. We were open till 9 o'clock, Thursday and Friday, and I would do Saturday in between the hygiene. And that's when Bobby and I started dating. Well, and then we started in summer. I started in September school, and then the day after Thanksgiving, my mom had the stroke, and life just changed. He needed me, my dad, and family comes first. But I said I'm going to quit, and he wouldn't let me quit. So I missed 6 weeks of school. She was very sick. But
everything happens for a reason.
It sure does. And
there's the sign.
Yeah, that's our sign. We were a part of the Washington Street exhibit here at the museum. That's my friend Eric Cohen. Yes, we love Eric. He lives in Marine View across the street. He was one of my very supportive constituent for many years, and we came to the celebration.
And this came here once you changed the name and you got a new sign.
Bob approached me and said, could we use your sign? I said, sure. I rebranded about 3 years ago, Bell Book and Candle, one of my favorite movies. And I have a lot of favorite movies, but that's probably number one. And then we incorporated some candles. We have just a few books, and I do have one bell, and it's not for sale. Sometimes you get a little wise guy come in, because where's your bell? Right. And I say, it's over there, and it's not for sale.
Instead of bringing in home goods and all kinds of fun stuff.
We changed, you got to rebrand yourself, merchandise yourself, and
we knew it was ready.
A lot of Hoboken mugs and pillows and and
fun stuff.
Rugs, Home Sweet Hoboken, the theme. You just do it over again. And you come out fresh. Remember that lady?
Yeah,
You're not going to be here in 2 years.
Oh, here's the pin. One of the many pins.
All of my blazers have little holes right here.
Yeah.
I just found the
Nice.
I told you we bought a machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We made our own buttons after a while. It got to be too expensive.
Yeah,
that's my last one.
Nice.
1A.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. And there's my boys. One of the best things I ever did.
Yeah.
There's John with the darker hair, and Jesse with the lighter hair. We were at a wedding last year. 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah. And
Yep.
I was beaming.
Very handsome.
Yeah, very, very. I've been so fortunate with my two boys.
I think I dressed John in this one.
Absolutely. I think he dresses himself.
There they are again.
And I like him without the beard, but that's your choice.
I know. I love the beard.
I know.
But the two of them, thick as thieves.
Yankee game.
And there's 9 years between them. That's also, that's a long story for a different day, but you went through a lot getting the boys.
My God, yeah, I did. Well, again, when you tell me you can't do it, that's what, even hygiene, there was a trial program.
Yeah.
It was the first program at the New Jersey College of Medicine and Dentistry, and they said, we like people right out of high school. You're 25 years old. Right. Hudson County doesn't have a program. This is Essex County. We pick 20 girls. We don't really pick anybody from another county.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
And then I said, oh, yeah? Okay. Whatever. I charmed them into taking me.
Yeah.
And then you go for 6 months. You pay the tuition, you buy the books, you buy the instruments, and Trenton comes in and they accredit you or they go home.
Oh, fun.
So it's a trial program, and I got in and we did it, it was done. These two boys, I went through hell and high water, and
worth every bit of it.
I know. I
really sweet guys.
They are. We'll talk a little bit more about them. Okay, and there's Jesse and my husband Bobby. Truth be known, I had a little crush on him in high school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but he was involved with somebody else for many years. They were engaged 4 times back, it was one of those things. And so I backed off. And then we re-met, and we got married, and that was it. But Jesse was actually a Jersey City sheriff's officer.
Yeah.
He didn't start out in Hoboken. He was a special in Hoboken. His father's footsteps. He wanted to be a cop. Bobby was a police officer, a detective. So Jesse changed his address. You had to live here 2 years. Meanwhile, he lived here his whole life. But he changed his address on his driver's license, which I told him, don't do that. He put our Shore address for some reason. I don't know why. So they traced it, and they said, well, he broke the chain. And now we don't have a residency requirement. That's been lifted, but at that time, so he had to do a stint in the sheriff's office, moved back to Hoboken, which he really never left, but whole other story. And he was inducted then in the Hoboken, bona fide Hoboken police officer, and today he's a detective. Yeah. Again, following in his dad's footsteps. He's getting awards there.
So proud of him.
Yes, he saved, if you remember, it was all over the news. The girl...
that fell through the pier?
She jumped, she walked, there was a gate saying no trespassing. There was a hole in the pier. 4 o'clock in the morning, it was February, freezing. She jumped over the fence. She didn't want to take the picture with the fence in the way. She could have moved over to the side, but she didn't. And she fell into the water. Oh. And they made a human chain to, hoist her up. Wow. And the family gave them a dinner, and 3 or 4 of the guys, and they were a little bit nervous about it. The boys, they're like, are they going to sue us? They're going to be... I said, no, I think you saved her life. I think, her brother was with her. Mm. Thank God for that. And he called the police, and they saved her. So he got a few.
There we go, bright and young right there, 18.
You didn't know what was going to happen to you.
No, I didn't. Just so funny.
That was the Fiore days, right?
Yeah, definitely Fiore days.
So
How cute.
beautiful couple, you guys. You know.
And then there's our beautiful Amy.
Amy's just very special.
Best sister-in-law ever.
Yeah.
Seriously,
We're
so lucky there.
I can't even put into words how fortunate I've been, you know.
Yeah.
With you two. Well, that's going to come.
And there we are.
My two beauties.
You know. Two girls you never knew you needed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I did. I did.
Yeah. You're like, I need to push these guys up the mountain. We got to get two strong-willed girls in here.
The testosterone in my house.
Yeah, I don't know how you dealt with that.
My husband, the two boys, my dog, and the turtle. They were all male. It was only me. Then comes Amy. Then comes you. Then comes Sawyer.
Yeah.
And, you know, Bobby passed away, the dog, the turtle, so all of it. Estrogen,
we're flipping now.
Estrogen.
We're winning now.
You got that right. So now, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a little lonely there in that estrogen pile.
Yeah, you probably didn't know what to do with all of our estrogen in the beginning.
I kind of whipped them into shape, but, you know, what are you going to do? But it was a big difference. And there's a ham.
That's my puppy.
That's Hamilton.
Yep.
In my living room. There's my brick wall with all the cutouts in it.
Yeah.
But he's a little sweetie. We love him.
And then
we
have
Claire.
the icon of Hoboken too, little
Claire Goldman.
Yes.
She's
Many
a mascot.
people remember her.
Yes. We inherited Claire. Her owner passed away suddenly. And Maria, who would be remiss if I didn't mention Maria Ravina, who's my right arm in Bell Book and Candle. Claire lives with her. She has 2 cats, and it works out fine. And if it didn't work out, I would have taken her with me. But she's our little icon.
Yep.
When Ken was alive, he had a poster of her, Claire Goldwyn for mayor.
She would have won too. Every single business owner loves that little dog.
I can't tell you.
But speaking of business, this is the Bell Book and Candle now.
There we are.
All of our beautiful vitrolite glass and transoms and all of these things.
We're trying to do that.
You know, keeping with that historic.
Yeah, we changed a few times, you know. That's our new sign.
Yep.
A Ray Guzman special, you know, and the beat goes on.
Yep.
And it's fall again. That's my fall.
So funny. Yeah.
Wreath. I mean, we were, what is it? COVID.
Yep.
We were out there.
Oh, yeah.
Doing that thing.
All the tomato plants. And then there you are.
There I am.
Ringing the bell. That's one of my favorite pictures of you. I have no idea who took this, but...
Jerry Law.
Oh.
From his balcony as a marine view.
Nice.
And he put me right between the branches.
So good.
It's cute, right?
So cute.
Yeah, 7 o'clock, we'd all go out and ring the bell, scream and yell, and, you know, in support of... We were closed for 3 months, and we just followed the rules.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we kind of do.
So fast forward to today, how would you sum up your life now? What brings you joy and fulfillment at this stage?
Oh my goodness, okay.
Well, I know the answer to this one. Real easy.
So first of all, I have 3 grandchildren.
Yes.
Jay has given me 1, and Jesse and Amy 2. And again, that number I think is going to increase. Yeah. We're not sure. Mm-hmm. And I've been told that number will increase. So I'm excited about that. They're, of course, they're my heart, they're my life. Smart, beautiful, and cuddly, and loving. Yeah. Okay.
None of the rest of us matter anymore. No, not at all.
No.
Which is totally fine.
Then we go to my boys. My boys are, loving. They're wonderful. They care. They help me a little bit, but when you're self-sufficient and independent, they go, she's all right. She could do it, and they're right. I can right now, But sometimes, I like a little help, but it's okay. I understand.
We come in. Amy and I come in.
No, they do. You do. So I'm getting to that.
Oh.
So, they're very busy, and John's in real estate, and Jesse's the police officer, the detective. He just made detective in his father's footsteps, and I'm so proud of both of them. I've been very well blessed. I guess my store, my store is my hobby. It's something that I go to every day. Again, Maria's Ravane is wonderful. I can't talk about how many years she's with me because she's
you
very...
date her. She'd be offended it would date her.
She's always 39. Every year she's 39. She wants nobody to know her age, so I'm not going to say how many years, but it's quite a long time. But I can go here and she can go there, and we bounce off of each other. Politics is never quite leave you, never quite leave you. So I have people coming in, asking questions and doing lots of stuff like that. And I love to be able to help people,
Yeah.
I often say I don't have a magic wand. I wish I did, but I don't. But I'll give you what I got, And, and no family is without grief and sadness and loss. And so we lost Bobby 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And my only heartbreak is that he's not here, just to share in the fruits of our labor and, do 40-something years together. And it's hard to live without him.
Yeah.
Because he was cheated. He would love these kids. He would love to see his sons. And he would have loved my 2 girls. and my 2 girls should have come after the boys.
Oh, you're so
but
sweet.
I have to tell you that if I could pick with a tree, it would be Jay. It would be Amy. They have all the traits that you would want in a daughter-in-law.
So
in a daughter. I don't say daughter-in-law. The mother, the wife, the way they run their household. They're ambitious and they're successful and they're beautiful. So
okay, now you're gonna make me cry over here. Don't cry.
I mean, what
so
more,
sweet.
What more could you want? So I just, I'm just sad that he didn't get to meet Jay. He met Amy for a short period of time. He was very sick, and he had kidney cancer, and he didn't last too long after the diagnosis. And when he was dying, I said to him, what did we do? What was the best thing you think we ever did? And I thought he would say, purchase buildings, or we did this. Or he said, we got married. I married you, and you married me.
That's so sweet.
And I just looked at him, and that was kind of like it. He really didn't talk much after that. We had hospice in, and it was a difficult time. Because hospice, as many as I called, they would not come to Hoboken because they couldn't find parking. Unless I guaranteed them parking, they wouldn't come to Hoboken. Wow. It was really a sad, it's a frightening time. And here we are, and you're telling me on the phone, we can't come. We won't come unless you guarantee a spot. So, we finally this is one in Hoboken, Visiting Angels, in case anybody needs it,
Yeah.
We got them to come in. And, it was only a matter of days anyway. But that was that. And
well, he's still with us.
I know he is.
All the time.
I feel
he messes up. He messes with us at 332 all the time. Let me just tell you, we lose things like you'd never believe. We find things in the most random spots that I swear you and I check all the time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that light goes on in your room.
I know. It happens in Belmore too.
Yeah.
The house in Belmore. And that's really why I stay here in 332. I feel all of my family around me. I could live any place I want. I could go any place I want, but I'm here. We've renovated 1,000 times. It's beautiful inside, but I don't feel alone. I mean, they live upstairs, but sometimes we don't see each other for a while,
Yeah.
But I come home and I feel like I'm being hugged by my all relatives. They're all here.
Yeah.
And you feel it too.
Oh,
so,
yeah. For
so
sure. I was like, took me a minute to get used to that, but no, now we're all Kumbaya.
Yeah, exactly, because they're all good people.
Yeah.
If they are there, they're all good. Nobody's looking to hurt us.
Yeah, it's very true.
Mm-hmm.
So, just to wrap it up, looking ahead, what would you say your hopes are for Hoboken? What advice would you give to the next generation?
We're in a direction, and some people say, oh, it's not like it used to be, and it's changing. Well, life changes.
Yeah.
Evolution happens, and you can sit and be bitter about it, or you can embrace it. And I think there's a lot of changes. The world has changed.
Yeah.
You can't expect the people from 50 and 60 years ago to be still walking down the street.
Mm-hmm.
I hear this. We used to know everybody. That's the way it is. So, embrace it. Don't sit there and be bitter, because that's not going to change it.
Yeah.
You just have to, you're right. And I am able to tell people that.
Mm.
What I'd like to see is just us moving forward. If there's future leaders, be yourself. Please, I've seen people, because they get a title, they change.
Yeah.
I didn't need a title to define me. I just went ahead and did the job that was put in front of me.
Mm.
I had a folder, and my oath of office is inside the folder, and that was my folder for my city council meetings. And I would open it up, and I'd read it. I would read it a lot, because sometimes you have to grapple with different decisions, and you probably know this in the Historic Commission, and it brings you back to focus and say, okay, this is what I have to do. Don't lose yourself in this whole crazy world.
Yeah.
Just be who you are. You have to look in that mirror. I sleep very well at night.
Yeah.
I don't even remember hitting the pillow.
And I can attest to that. She sleeps
I do. It's like, I need to. I need my sleep. I have a very busy day ahead of me, and that's it. But I don't know how some people can get, once they get into office, or they get behind where they have authority to, whether it's a commissioner, or some people try to just, twist people a lot of times. And it's, when people would come to us, sometimes we would meet once a month, and if somebody wanted to open their business and they'd have to wait a whole month to put the sign up, I'd have a special meeting. I mean, we used to accommodate people. You should be enhancing life in the city. It's not easy living in the city. It's not easy living, but we should as leaders should be enhancing the quality of life.
Yeah.
And that was always my goal, to enhance the quality of life for people where I could. Yeah. Again, magic wand, I wish I did. I only wish I did. That would be really nice, but it doesn't exist.
For letting me interview you. What a pleasure.
I know. I really didn't think that. I knew we were going to be fine.
Yeah.
But of course. We live together.
Yeah, that's
practically.
true.
But I just.
We're like two peas in a pod.
Yeah, I think so. But we both love the same people.
Yeah.
And that's important.
And our city.
Yeah. It's given us so much. It's given me so much at this point, and you will see it in a few years when Rob gets to school and has
next
friends.
Generation.
So, I want to really thank, too, Bob, and, I'm one of the founding members of the museum, and it's a special place in my heart for this, yes. And so I thank everybody, and a technician, Rand, back there.
It's me.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. We really enjoy our life, and that's the key. Enjoy your life. While it's good, because sometimes things happen, and you got to learn to get over it and move on, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. I'm gonna thank you so much, guys. Ladies, that was fantastic. I'm going to say some farewells and thank yous here. Of course, we thank Jay and Terry for joining us for a really great interview and chat. Next up, we've got Joe Delafave, and after that, we've got an Uptown Halloween walkabout. So stay tuned to our social media channels and sign up for our digital newsletters, and you'll see what the museum is up to. We'd like to thank the New Jersey Historical Commission for their support. They provide us with all kinds of support over the years to help help us run. It's your tax dollars at work, so thank you. We also got a nice grant to produce this show from the New Jersey Council for the Humanities, another great state organization. This is the Shipyard Circle. These are people who are at the top level of financial giving, and we thank them a lot. You can see there that some of them are museum trustees who are also our favorite volunteers, but we love all our volunteers and all our supporters, so thank you so much to everybody. We thank Iron State Properties. We thank them every day because they give us a fantastic space here where we're recording right now. We have a 99-year lease, and it's just a wonderful thing to be able to be here thanks to Iron State. Downstairs, we've got the Benedict J. Fernandez photojournalist exhibit. He's somebody who lived in Hoboken for a long time, took pictures of the shipyard. You can see the propeller there. He worked at the shipyard with his father and his son, and ended up being a very accomplished photographer who took many great photos during the social change movement in the 60s, became friends with Martin Luther King Jr., and did a lot of education for photography in New York City. Upstairs here in the upper gallery where we're sitting right now are the drawings of Hoboken by Darren Call. Just some great line drawings of some of the storefronts and other buildings here in Hoboken from the past and from the present, and they're pretty great. Coming up soon is our Hoboken House Tour, October 27th. There's a QR code there on the screen. You can scan that with your phone if you're so fancy. You can do something like that. But otherwise, go to our website, hobokenmuseum.org, check out our social media feeds, and it's going to be a great tour. The tour is back in person, so we're really excited about that. We also have a gala event coming up November 16th, just a few weeks later, where we're up at Stevens Institute in the room with the beautiful view up there, and again, a QR code there to check that out. Check out our website and social media for more information. There's going to be lots of Sinatra. It's going to be great. Please ring the bell and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. Do all that kind of interaction that helps us look good in that world. And I guess that is it. Thank you again from the Hoboken Historical Museum. Jay and Terry, thanks again. And farewell.